transfers are getting a lot of time to get, preventing business to run smoothly.
When we go to Russia, Australia, farmers are rich. When you compare that to Southeast Asia, where farmers have
Yeah,
smaller farmlands, it's very difficult to correlate with
exactly.
their
Right
situation.
now, we're navigating through a really tough world, and you need to invest huge amount of time and money in terms of legal and compliance. It costs them pretty huge amount of money.
All right, guys, we have today is one of most important guy who's handling finance for Web3. And I actually had a lot of conversation with him in Telegram for real long time. Seems like I know him for years. We would have a very good chat about his project and his contribution to Web3 and as well as his contribution to projects like FarmCent. So, without further ado, let me introduce Anton from Archway Finance. Welcome on board.
Thank you, Jörg. I really appreciate you called me in to this podcast. Really appreciate that. Thank you.
Like always, what we do, we like to know the personal side, personal story of an individual, right? Because while we are getting caught in all these Web3 jargons, we tend to forget the individuality, right? So please give me an introduction of yourself from a very normal individual Anton perspective.
Okay, I see. Let's try to do that. So basically, Anton, from really natural perspective, is a guy originally from Russia. I was born in Russia. I lived like for 17 years, so I finished my school, normal school in Russia, and then I decided like to move out from Russia because it was already the time in 2007 when I had an understanding like Russia is not heading the right way at this moment. So I've decided like basically to prefer education abroad. Happily, my family had an possibility to provide me such options. So I moved to Czech Republic, where I've spent the next 15 years of my life, basically going to the high school of economics, business administration, all this kind of stuff. And here, there in Czech Republic, I've built my career, and it's quite interesting because I've met like only few people with the same background as I have because from the first year of my university I started to work as an innovation designer. Basically, it means that you're trying to build things that are not existing and you're trying to solve problems that no one trying to solve. And it's quite like it's quite strange path to choose because basically you're working with high level of uncertainty. You're working in chaos, which is just like the basis level of everything that you're like dealing with in the office life and business life. And you're basically trying to solve like challenges. So when people are coming to you and saying, "Hey, we just need like 5 million euros in new stream of revenues for our company because we're declining in like and trends are bad, etc., etc." So we're searching for something and we have no idea what we're searching for. So go and find it, go and bring it, go and build it, and make it successful. And this is what I was trying like to do. I think last 10 years of my career. So I was never an expert in anything like deep level. So you know this like T structure of knowledge. I have it like this way. It's like a fork. Basically, it's not like going super deep, but I have like quite at least average deep knowledge in many many areas. That's why like my position where I'm right now and as a founder, like as a CEO, I know like so much about like accounting, management accounting, like finances, IT, product wise, research, marketing, whatever, etc. Because I was like in so many different positions during my consultancy work, and I was trying to build like I think I'm an example of a guy who already had like 50 trials of unsuccessful business before. So there is a lot of like learnings behind me, but in general, I think the main like personality trick is here that I like new stuff and I like to rebuild things that do not work right now. So when I see something that makes sense to rebuild, I have an immediate need like to look into details, connecting the dots, and trying to find alternative ways how to make it better. And when I've met, this is a bit intro like into crypto basically. When I found out about crypto in 2017, because I'm not a techie guy, I wasn't in the early stages of that. I was a Like,
That's when you were in Russia or you moved out?
no, I was in Czech Republic. It was like
Oh, you were in
2017. I
Czech
already
Republic.
was, yeah, yeah. I had already like my career, already had my money, and Bitcoin was like around 2K, $2,000 or something like that. So I started to buy it. I
Good
earned some
old
money on
days.
the, yeah, yeah, old days. Then I remember how it became like 4,000. I was, oh my God, I'm making money. And it was like this bull run when it get to the like 20K, and I've made like quite a huge profit, and then I lost everything of it because I've never knew that there is a bear market, that there is like
A lot of Web3 founders will correlate with your story of making
exactly.
money and losing it.
Yeah, and actually that's true because I know a lot of Web3 founders who get at the same time during this because this bull run was like everyone noticed it actually because before it was like okay from 500 like to 1,000 etc. and like some technician guys who purchased like thousands of bitcoins made some money, but it was super uninteresting. Like those guys are basically freaks and technology geeks, and nobody was speaking about them. But when Bloomberg was like shutting out, hey, Bitcoin is 10,000, 17,000, 20,000, oh, everyone is going crazy. And then like even your like cleaner at home starting to speak about like Bitcoin. And before I had no idea that there's a bad sign. When like those average people are starting like to speak about that, it's time to sell. So I was the one who was still purchasing and investing. And this is the way how I lost like I don't know, like I lost like around 30K or something like that. For me, this time it was like pretty significant batch of money. So funny times started there, and as I was involved into innovations, and we had a lot of clients from finances, insurance, etc. Basically, fintech was also kind of part of my career where I was like speaking with hundreds of consumers from banking services. I was speaking about them with them like how they save money, how they spend money, where they have troubles with transfer money, etc., etc. So like I've seen a lot of different lifestyles in terms of money spending and money collecting and money investing. So this world is like I don't think that it is in general like the best thing to do in business because finances is still like money moving. There is much more significant problems in the world like pollution of the planet, absence of water in Africa, etc. So I hope someday I would come to those things. But even these financial problems
I
that
want to interrupt you in there, and I'll tell you a story about FarmSend's actual experience in Colombia. We were trying to send $10,000 to a farmer from Bahrain to Colombia, and the bank took probably 7 days to complete the
yeah,
KYC and things, a lot of questions and everything, $380 charges and all those stuff. That actually made me realize that people who are processing payments are the guys who are actually contributing deeply because the lack of
yes,
that processing part, right? Often what happens, people are taken advantage of. This farmer is going to run to a guy who probably a loan shark so that he can manage his
yeah.
day-to-day needs.
I also, this is where actually I was heading because I was solving exactly those innovation challenges in the very developed world. Like it's Western Europe, it's like US, it's UK. So when you're trying to build financial innovations in those countries, it's really, really difficult because the things that are getting like breakthrough, you need to build them at least like 10 times better than what you already have. But like Western world is already like a collective mind of the smartest people where the biggest capital is already like collected and placed. So doing like financial innovations is quite a hard nut. And exactly like farm sand and even archway, this is where we understood okay, actually there is an outsiders in this banking system. People who are really hard to get like financing, get financial transfers, even like struggling to get like normal ID in Nigeria. So this is where like real innovation can come, and it is necessary. Shouldn't be like idol Elon Musk. So he's building like heavy things, absolutely heavy things. Archway Finance, and honestly, like I hope you wouldn't be like in any way disturbed by that. Like farm sand is a very interesting thing by its nature, but we are trying to provide basic stuff for people who really need. Elon Musk is trying, like, basically we still haven't solved our problems on the planet, and he's already thinking how to get out from this planet. And we are basically in these terms trying to help like just outsiders in the countries which are just far away from this Western world, which is very like fitted in a very well way. And I see it like the way that West and Europe in general is not very interested, like to provide those good financial connections. And banks, intermediaries, they have their own play. They can set up the rules. They basically those delays, right? If you will think about like Swift as a messaging platform, it's
Mhm.
not the way that you are sending message on the Telegram. It's coming to you in a week. It's not like that. This message is immediately there. So it's just
Mhm.
on them. It's like it's artificial delays. It's artificial fees. It's artificial ineffectivity because it makes sense. And I also know that when we are like going into this Web3 financial world, when we're trying like to disrupt some things with blockchain, with USDT, stable coins in general, they're just out of control of the governments. And I also like the more and more I'm engaging like with different regulators in different countries, I see also the hard reasons why those delays and KYCs and KYBs are on the place. So basically what we are doing in some form is that we are disturbing them. We're really like shaking them from their chairs and saying,
Can you give that particular feature, which is really exciting? And we had a Telegram chat about it, that the recipient need to do KYC and not the sender. Can you please
yeah,
explain? And if
yeah,
you want to add a context to a viewer that how Archway works, you can give a context and then explain, so it could be
yeah.
easier for them to understand.
So what we're doing in Archway, basically, we've seen all those ineffectivities, and by its nature, Archway is licensed as a crypto exchange. What does it mean? We're based in Europe. We have some documents and papers that are saying, hey, Archway is eligible to swap crypto to crypto and eligible to swap fiat to crypto and back, basically doing on-ramp and off-ramp. What does it means that if like any institution will come after us and say, hey, you're engaging like with fiat currencies, you are like should be in compliance with some laws, we're basically saying, hey guys, we're already doing that. So we can do that based on our licenses. How we decided to choose to use that. We're not doing any classical like on ramp of ramp, even you despite the fact you can do that in our platform, but we use it as a channel for cross-border payments. So our main clients are people who are living in countries like India, Ukraine, Bangladesh, Philippines, etc., etc., where bank transfers are basically getting a lot of time to get. It might take like 7 days. Sometimes it's just like get a rejection from the recipient bank and return it back. And we had a lot of complaints from Indian marketing agencies saying, hey guys, I just want to do my business and I should wait for my call from the bank when they will ask me, hey guy, why did you receive that like $2,000, right? And they're trying like to analyze each transaction. Basically, it's preventing business to run smoothly. And our like main core functionality is that any of those payment recipients in overseas countries can come to our European platform, can register and basically rent our IBAN and GBP account for Euro and GBP, our European accounts, and they can invoice on that. So you are starting to invoice with us just within 3 minutes after KYC is completed. We need just only your passport and selfie. That's it. And then you're creating your invoice, and for example, imagine I am Anton, I'm from India, I'm going like to Yog, who has a company in Europe, and saying, hey, I did marketing job for you, 1,000 euros. So Yog is normally paying to the European IBAN 1,000 euros, and his accountant is fully happy. He never seen USDT on the background. He has no idea that crypto is involved. Everything is smooth as people in Europe used to. But Yog on the other side, as soon as we will receive euro on our accounts, we exchange it into USDT and send it immediately to Yog. So basically, the whole transaction might take not 7 days, but it would take like 2 minutes. So it's a huge, huge difference comparing to what those freelancers and outsourcing companies like dealing with now. But it's fair to say, in many of those countries, we still need to solve the problem of cashing out, basically a ramping solution. And this is where we're searching like for different partners in different countries because this is
Yes.
definitely the necessary thing for us. And I think that Archway, like within next year, will definitely get like 5, 10 partners like that in different regions, because it is really helpful. It is what people need at the end. And again, what is cool about Archway is that we're basically working with the constant flows of money, the same actually as farm sand. It's business money,
Mhm.
right? Business
Mhm.
is running all the year. It's not like remittance or something like that that is like sent once per month or once per year as a happy bonus for a birthday. It's just money for living. So we need to find a good way how those money for living could be used in those countries to make it relevant for potential like Web3 people who are there. We again, based on our financial infrastructure, sometimes connecting Web2 and Web3 businesses. So a good example is Web3 business comes to us and saying, hey, we have Web2 fund from Europe who's holding Euro funds. They're like thinking about like that they need to invest into us USDT because we need it in our capital, and they're struggling with that. Can you solve this problem? And we're just saying yes. We're basically mitigating those kind of custom requests on providing those business financial connections in some matter.
I want to give one example of farm scent, and here, imagine there is a wholesaler in Europe, and he wants to buy produce from Indonesia, and he wants to pay fiat. Can you take this context and expand it in a way that how Archway Finance can help? So that will probably let our viewers know how important it is to have an organization like Archway Finance dealing with the center.
Thank you. This is actually an example how we met, right, and how we started our discussions.
Yeah, exactly.
Because those farmers, they already starting like to understand that USDT is something that's really good for them. And I also see it actually among exporters in those countries because even
Yeah.
like exporters that are trying like to receive fiat funds still being like under control of the government in India, for example, but then they still have farmers who are already eager to receive USDT. So they need like to go to Binance, buy peer-to-peer, and it costs them pretty huge amount of money this way. And in our case, as you described with Indonesia, so this Indonesian farmer just should go like to our platform. He or his business should be registered, KYC or KYB, which is still like not very time consuming process. And this farmer can directly invoice in euro to this wholesaler in Europe. So
Mhm.
wholesaler wouldn't deal with any crypto. It's not his matter of like troubles that he should care about because he would just like pay on the Archery account that we rented basically for this farmer. And as soon as we will receive those euros, which is basically happening like within minutes with SEPA Instant or maximum 1 day inside of SEPA, we transfer USDT to the wallet of the farmer. So farmer has no delays. There is much less problems with like proving any transactions, etc. And this is basically where we are as those young financial institutions starting to disturb the governments and regulators because in some way we are harm for them because we're disturbing the setup system.
You're disrupting, yes, for sure.
We're disrupting, yeah, and we're like shaking them. They were like sitting calm in their chairs, saying like, "I don't like this transaction. I like this transaction. I don't like this transaction," and nobody was bothering them, right? And here we're coming and saying, actually, okay, actually, current level of regulatory in fiat and crypto allows us to do much faster transfers where we're not dependent on you. We can serve your clients while being abroad until you're like North Korea or China, which will like just say, hey, everything is forbidden. We can serve you as a foreign country and we can streamline those payments. So basically, I see that the future of those classical and traditional financial institutions that they still would need to respect the shakes that we do. Not, it doesn't mean that they would start to say, hey, archery is good or farmstand is good. They will just need like to respect the thing that we already existing, that
Mhm.
regulation globally allows and basically making those abilities broader and possibilities wider, and they will need to start to get up from their chairs and do something with their rigidity, right? Because they're rigid in some processes. They basically trying to protect like themselves from everything. Because like QAC is super difficult. Wise is like cutting 10 times more heads and accounts that they need, just because it's like super huge risk for them to lose their financial licenses, to lose their banking licenses, to be bad in the eyes of the regulator. And chief risk officers and all these risk guys, they just everyone is trying to protect their backs. So they're saying, I don't like this one, and this might be a really bad guy, but I also don't like this 10 potentially bad guys. They even seems good, but I'd rather cut them out from our accounts and services just to be safe. And what we are doing, we're basically giving them, we're saying, okay, those guys can work with us. We will also do like QAB and QAC with them. We will do more quality checks than you can do. And the regulator on the other side also see that, okay, abilities are spreading out and they need to come up with new regulation. They need to come up with new vehicles, how to control it. And maybe somewhere they need like to lose ants. But I also fully respect, I've recently heard and read one post from Interpol. They're saying that business transaction is like the biggest way of laundering money cross border. And this is actually really interesting because you in the farming, you have like some goods, right? That you can make a photo, you can make a photo of the container, of the avocados inside of that, etc. But in terms of business services, it's so hard. Imagine there is like an Indian company or Indonesian company saying, "Hey, I'm developing like blockchain project for $500,000 for a German company," right? And they're
Yeah,
kind
how
of
do you
delivering
validate
this
that?
service. Exactly. And then they will say, okay, our like chief technical architect just left the company. Project is like broken, nothing is delivered, so that's why it's not working. That's why there is no website. But 500,000 was already went into those countries. So on other side, I have a full respect for Interpol, all like police work that is done around like money laundering, and also about like government work that is trying to protect its citizen from different cases like that. So we're all in the same boat. We're basically trying to help someone who is in need of like much easier services and better access to finances. On other side, we're not the protection for anything related to money laundering, and we're not gonna like compile with that. This is not definitely a part of our like platforms. But this is very interesting and tough game, especially like I don't know how it much touches you like in terms of like Web3, but I also know that you have a lot of licenses in FarmSense. So basically AML and compliance is also a huge part of your work, right? In our
Yeah.
case, I just like expect that it would be half of my team, or it would be a ton of AI agents who are trying like to do mystery shopping, who are trying to do like mystery calls with all those companies and clients to be sure that those services are really existing. Because
My view of innovation is that innovation cannot be killed by punishing the good guys because there is a scope of bad guys to come in, right? So compliance and all other things are good, but we cannot actually go completely kill a system expecting that the bad guys are going to take advantage of it. We need to find ways to stop that. So, was it really difficult for you to navigate through these regulatory challenges?
it is still difficult. I think it would never be easy. Just like, again, I don't know, like, I expect that in FarmSand you have the same challenges, right? You are a company which is registered in like Dubai, is it correct? And
Hmm.
you are still dealing like with jurisdiction of Dubai and regulators of Dubai who are saying you, okay, to serve your clients in Dubai because all your servers, whatever is like on Dubai and your service team is in Dubai, you still need to compile with regulation of Indonesia, of India, or whatever country you're going for after the citizens or like businesses. So basically, what we are like at the end both should do is like playing this like more like poker or jungling, where you're
Balancing
basically
act,
like
basically.
exactly. And for each country and each country connection, it's different because some ways it's money going like from Germany to Indonesia. Sometimes it's like from Portugal to India, and it's always like basically you're like containing two different countries, two different regulators. You're trying to connect the conditions for both of them, and also you have like your regulation in Dubai. So it's so interesting Lego in terms how you should compile those things. But I'm also like happy that more and more regulation is coming in terms of crypto. Like we're expecting MiCA rollout, right, within next year. Then there is like financial groups across the globe who are trying like to bring this standardized level of AML, of all compliance, of crypto regulation, etc. And my expectation is that right now we're navigating through like a really tough world because everything is super different and you need to invest huge amount of time and money in terms of legal and compliance to research each country separately and to connect those dots. But in 3, 5 years, it would be unified in some way, and our life would be easier, but also why we're doing it right now because, for example, India for me is super interesting country, right? There is so many changes. It's number one country in terms of crypto adoption. Indian government is still like kind of saying, hey, we do not accept like stable coins, we do not accept like Bitcoin as a payment method, but we're gonna launch our own like digital rupiah. So basically, they're like something is happening inside of this house, and what I want to do right now to be prepared on the maximum level so I can stand in front of the door in the first line, being first in the queue, and when they will open those doors, I will tell, hey, I'm fully ready to work with you. I already have so many connections that I'm super interesting partner for you. That's why for me, like also India is like a very, very interesting market where we're even trying right now to find additional strategic investors. This is crucial and this is a huge market overall.
This is very interesting perspective that not only you are innovating, but you want to be the first in line when
Yeah.
things becomes easier. You want to implement quickly, and also in a way you are giving a bit of a lead up to the regulators that this is possible. Why it is not being done, right? Uh, I think all the Web3 innovators like you, what they are doing silently, knowingly and non-knowingly, is creating examples and proof of concept why this is not implemented, and makes the government and regulators think that, yeah, why it takes 1 week to process a cross-border payment? Why? If Archway can do it, I think in 24 hours, right?
We can do it like within 3 minutes from Europe to India.
If Archway can do it in 3 minutes, then why does it take 1 week to process this payment, right?
Yeah.
This is very
Be-
interesting. I wanted to ask if, like, what are the markets you are already in compliant with and ready for operation?
Basically, we're compliant with all pairs from Europe, from UK. We're currently investigating US pairs. It's quite like specific challenge. But what is interesting about like our business model is that we're not like taking the fiat pairs as our clients. Basically, those are like third parties because how it works, it like let me open up you basically
Yes,
backstage
please.
of the processes. When you come into our platform and you are saying, hey, my invoice is 1,000 euros. I want to receive USDT for that. We're registering you as a client. We are compliant with all regulation. We know your wallet. We know where you're gonna send those stable coins, and we know that those stable coins are fully like pure and clean because we purchased it on ourselves. So there is no shaded transactions was done with those
Yes.
stable coins,
Yeah. Perfect.
and you are invoicing to someone who is basically paying the price of your stablecoins. We're doing kind of barter. So you're providing us with an invoice that third party will cover this invoice, and we, in exchange for this invoice, sending out you out like your stablecoins, and we're just taking like our tiny commission for that. So this is kind of like more processes are happening at the same time. It's not classical cross-border transaction where I'm just like taking money of someone else and moving it to you. I'm not a correspondent bank. I'm really like providing for you service like of USDT purchase, but the price of those stable coins is paid by someone else on behalf of you. So in this case, like even US clients, and I hope that we'll be able to prove it like through our research in terms of legal and compliance, they will be exactly just those price pairs. So they are not buying cryptos themselves. They are not our clients. So US regulator can come after us and say, hey, you've sold like 1000 USDT to John. No, John just paid like for Yog. Yog purchased those stable coins, and John was his like
Got
uncle,
you.
his business client, whatever. They did like normal business between themselves. John was owning those money for Yog, and Yog just uses that to cover his stable coins.
Just like farm sent, like our farmer is sending a commodity and
Exactly.
is deserving money, right?
Yeah.
So
Yep.
Archway in center is processing this, but is not actually part of the transaction. It is creating the transaction process.
Yes.
Um, so my farmer need to have a reason why he's receiving money, and my wholesaler need to have a reason why he's sending money. That cannot be
Yep.
ruled out. Is that
Yep.
what you? Okay.
Exactly. And in on one side you have like physical goods that are sent out. In my case, it can be like physical goods, so it can be any service or any future service even. And then like why person is paying, because this is normal in the business, right? You just like provided with an invoice for prepayment and you are covering that because there is underlying contract or just gentleman agreement that we are going to work with you in the future and you owe me those money based on the invoice. And invoice is like worldwide accepted piece of paper which is has some value. In some cases, like stock for your service, right? And in terms of like Europe and UK, we're good right now in terms of where we're sending money. We're sending money like to Ukraine, to Nigeria. We had even like send money to Iran. We even send money like to India and a couple of more countries, which I wouldn't like name right now. But main like I think also additional feature of Archway why it is possible. So for example, like Russia, right? It's very like questionable thing. And I'm originally also like from Russia. And you told today a very interesting thing that it is like it is not solving the problem to punish like bad guys. And I think European and US government did something like still very strange to me. They punished like all Russian people in terms of like cutting out like SWIFT and
It's a very touchy subject, but need to be actually looked at. This I observed in Bali when this issue happened. A lot of Russian friends were unable to withdraw anything, and they didn't have any other money than
yeah,
in the card.
yeah. But also, I have an answer because again, was digging deep into that. Maybe you heard like recent news. There is like still a lot of companies in Europe who are providing like Russian army with different like supplies, IT chips, parts of like ammunition, etc. And it's all happening like through shady import, like third-party companies, etc. So the government basically did a good thing to stop huge flows of those things coming into Russia because it should be done this way. I fully agree with that. But a lot of innocent people had their like struggles. But then there was also a pressure.
Yeah, our concern is these innocent people. They are giving a service, they deserve a
Yeah.
money. What do they do? You know?
Unfortunately, you're part of a country who started a war. You can't like ignore that. You can't say I'm not a part of that because everyone lived
Mhm.
in this country, and basically everyone is a part of that because it's already maybe a bit political question. But if you're like saying it's fine, you're part of that. At least you should say it's not fine.
Yeah.
And returning back, like why we're able to protest this, like for Russian people, is that all European sanctions says you can't create financial accounts for Russian citizens or Russian residents. So having like financial accounts, either like fiat or crypto, means holding funds on behalf of Russian citizens. And we are non-custodial solutions. This is like our additional, let's say, value proposition. We're saying like, hey, as soon as we receive your funds, it's going to your wallet. You are owning your funds. We're not holding that. We're not like managing your funds. You have your wallet and it can be anywhere on the moon blockchain, like whichever.
Yeah. You are basically in the center
Yeah,
processing things, and you are
exactly.
not a
So I'm
custodian.
holding funds only like for the time period which I need to convert it and send it out.
But what about the product like I saw in your website and also I think somewhere about the Digifinex,
Oh yeah.
that card? Are you the custodian? Like, how does that work actually? Give
Yeah.
some insight to our viewers, like
Uh,
how they can.
Basically, I was like describing Archway right now. It's again like a bit of like technical background, right? It's like set of compliance and legal documentation related like to licenses and the right to do this stuff and processes how to do this stuff correctly. Then it is like fiat infrastructure where we're having more banks which are providing us with very special banking accounts through which those money can flow. It's not normal business operational accounts. It's like really for crypto exchange, financial institution accounts, etc. And then it's like set of crypto wallets. So basically, those three elements is like our core infrastructure. It's not difficult to build it in terms of technology. I would be fully open on that. I'm always open on that. But it is like crazy as it is difficult on compliance part and process part and like agreeing with all those banks and proving everyone that you're like shiny and white. As we have this core, we want to develop it further. So basically, sooner or later, I want to provide custodial services. Sooner or later, I want to provide like
Okay.
remittance services, so C2C payments. It will be done on the same infrastructure, but a little bit different compliance set. Then I want my invoices to be paid with cards. So that's why we are right now like discussing with card processes an ability just not to pay bank transfer, but to pay directly with a card. So like more smaller businesses can get payments from final consumers. Exactly.
Individuals, small transactions,
Exactly. Exactly
freelancers,
this way.
you know, digital nomads.
Exactly. And then it's even like good case we have just like software service company in Portugal and they want to be settled in crypto. And they're selling to clients in France and Belgium and they want those customers to pay like with the cards and they want to receive stable coins. So this is absolutely normal company which is selling absolutely normal not Web3 products. They just want to be settled in USDT because they believe in this market, they want to have part of the capital in those money. This is where I fit in also. But when we're touching like these cards, when the things that you were mentioning, it's basically like just a marketing partnership with DigiFinex. DigiFinex is an exchange from Asia. They have 4 or 5 million clients. They definitely like not the last one on the list, but they're like among like first 40 exchanges or something like that in terms of volumes and amount of clients. And they have USDT accounts. So basically what we are offering, and they're also providing those USDT cards. It's a prepaid card, but this card is like prepaid with a balance on your USDT wallet. It's directly connected to that. So as soon as you get paid through the invoice, for example, on your invoice there is like 5K USD, right, for the development job. You're just giving us this wallet of this exchange. We're sending money to this exchange, and you have normal Visa card, which is like just pegged with those USDT. You have 5K on this card. As soon as you spend with that, Visa is doing like payment in dollars, but it's immediately deducted from your USDT account. So you are spending your USDT without even noticing that you're spending like USDT, just because it's normal fiat payment in any shop globally. And what is good like with this card is that they have a limit for 100K dollars per day, basically unlimited. So yeah, unlimited. Yeah,
That's more
it's more
than
than
enough.
enough.
Where it is available right now, like people can order
Basically,
through Archway.
you should get in touch with us. We'll provide you with our like link for the registration for this card, and I think they, again, they're based like in Asia, and they would be compliant with many countries. I think the only exclusions would be like on U.S. clients, as always, and then probably like South
Mhm.
Korea, China, Iraq, a couple of those countries. Basically, it's probably like 10 on the
Mhm.
list as high risk companies, high risk countries globally, and most of the exchanges excluding them directly. In all other matters, it's not a problem.
Okay, that's brilliant. So this link I will be actually once you drop it, I'll share with the with our
Would be
community
glad to
as
do
well.
that. Yeah, and right now we're doing it like with DigiFinex, but I also hope that we on after we will land right now like investments would be able like to open the similar partnership with this Visa and someone similar like in the same terms because this is like part of the Lego that we want to have inside of our platform.
No, this is actually going to help a lot of creators, digital nomads, freelancers. They can receive money spent without them, as you said, knowing that they're actually paying their crypto, and it's a seamless process. So that is really going to help
Yep,
this economy. No? I have a very interesting thing
go
for
on.
you, right? So the previous guest, Lindsay, He's a CEO of
Mm-hmm.
Hedgy Finance. Okay. So I had asked him for my next guest, what would be a question, you want him to answer. So he said, what would you do with your time if crypto didn't exist?
Okay, it's very interesting and at the same time like philosophical question. I have, I think, million of answers. It's definitely not, as I was explaining it on the start of this podcast. Crypto and finances is really interesting thing, and what we're doing, like the breakthrough and shaking that we're like creating for the governments right now, is super exciting to do. And but I think the world has a lot of problems to solve. And by nature, being an innovator, I would solve a lot of them, or I would like to solve a lot of them. It's just a matter of like time to pick the right one that would be exactly,
Prioritizing the
because for
right
example,
one.
like
Yeah.
we've started to be like in
Hmm.
Web3 world, and then AI is appeared. And I've seen so many use cases like that where AI can be used. I know that those projects can be launched like basically within weeks. I have many ideas, and like basically what I'm doing when I'm meeting my like technician business friends who are searching like for something, some business, I'm saying, hey, I would do one, two, three, four, five AI things. And this is like super exciting time right now. So basically, I think proper answer is right now, if not crypto, I would do AI things. Yeah.
Brilliant.
Yeah.
That is very straightforward. What would be your question for the next guest?
Is next, I suppose next guest also gonna be like from Web3, right? And compliance. Okay.
Yes, yes.
So
Okay.
my question is really like this question that is burning me like during last months is, because as it was told before, we're doing something that is not regulated yet, right? And regulator is always like coming after. They're having like their regulations, which are basically with a 3 year delay to regulate what already was done. And I'm really interested like how other people like perceive that, because I know that we're going on the age, basically doing what is not prescribed yet to do, right? Because there is like no more regulation, we're fitting with that, but no one from the regulators really understand like how blockchain works, what it is capable of, and we're exploring new possibilities and we're breaking the walls. And sometimes those walls are directly to the like cabinet of some financial minister who doesn't like to hear that. So he's like really, oh my gosh, what are you doing? You're not, we were not ready for that. So I'm really interested that how this person pursue, how this person sees those challenges that we're having in front of us, how he feels in terms of like doing that. Because I am honestly a bit nervous. I'm knowing like I'm consulting like regularly with my legal counsels, etc., to be like fully clean. I really want this company to be like absolutely transparent. So any investor, even like banking wise, can come to us and ask, "Hi guys, what you're doing?" And I would prove on all matters that we did maximum to be like absolutely right, compliant, etc., etc. Because I want this business to grow really as Wise and Revolut did. But it makes me nervous because sometimes I need to explore those angles which are not explored yet, and sometimes I'm breaking the walls of the people who are not expecting that those walls are going to be broken. Because imagine, like you and us, right? We're right.
Hmm.
Yeah,
Very,
because right
very
now, like,
interesting. Very interesting
w-
question, actually. You know what I observed about you, Anton, is, and we've been in touch in Telegram for a real long time. We had a lot of meetings. You always focus on solutions. If and you approach several times saying, "Hey, if this doesn't work, can this work? Can that work? Do you have any room for this solution, that solution?" It's always as if you had the creative juice flowing for finding solutions. So I wasn't taken aback when you said that if not crypto, you would do something, other things in AI or anything, right? Because I actually felt that you are a natural thinker, natural solution provider, right? And so this is why I really appreciated our time chatting, many solutions. When you gave, I take that in, process it, because I'm still trying to understand the payment, cross-border payment, which I'm still trying to figure it out. But you never lost patience. You were always really helpful, and hopefully, we will work together with many things in many markets. And also, our Web3 founders would be loving your solution, you know. But before anything, just want to really appreciate what you're building, and appreciate how you encourage a younger ecosystem and have
Thank
that
you.
patience.
Thank you.
Thank
I
you so
also think
much.
that like FarmSand is really, when I've met your project, I was like, okay, this is real application of blockchain. I was looking like, because I was tracking blockchain development from 2017, how IBM was trying to solve things, how like different Mercedes was trying to use like blockchain for some stuff, etc. And again, it's like everything for really developed world. And you're basically exchanging like database for some improved database, right? It's just distributed database at the end with better level of protection and transparency, etc., etc. But I really love Web3 projects which are really going out of this established world, and where blockchain is really can be helpful for the population of the planet, which is not so well touched and not so well cared with the things that are basic, which are basic for Europeans or US or Western, any Western person. This is like,
With affluent societies, it's always difficult to really know. Like when we go to Russia, when we go to Australia, US, farmers are rich. When you compare that to Southeast Asia, where farmers have
yeah.
smaller farmlands, it's very difficult to correlate with
Exactly,
their situation.
exactly. And I see
Yeah.
like that basically African regions, Latin American regions, Asian regions, all of those regions, they are also like highly regulated. They have their own problems inside of the countries. And also like a lot of those problems are actually coming from the regulation and centralization of the like power force in the hands of not democratic personalities, or maybe like bad governments itself. And I really hope that this movement of blockchain and blockchain finances and smart contracts would give like a huge spread, huge power through spreading through those secondary and third level worlds, let's call it this way, because they are following. And what we as an innovators from the Western world can bring is basically to understand the best of what we have right now, get rid of like not required stuff, because we also have very complicated processes in Western world. Basically get rid of that. And this like, let's say MVP of the Western world, try to implement it through distributed networks, through distributed like through blockchain itself, or through blockchain finances, to those world where like one mobile phone is enough to have your own identity, to have your own like print finger on that, to have your own wallet. Basically, I want my government. I'm just thinking like, right? If I'm like person from Africa who never had an ID, but I have a smartphone, so I want some technology that wouldn't be even like dependent on one of my smartphones, right? Because this can be broken, stolen, etc. But it will be stored somewhere in a very secured way. And through fingerprint, my face, 3D, whatever, I would be able to sustain my identity, I would be sustain my money, and I would be to sustain my rights and my history. This is where I see the future of blockchain. This is where it really like would bring the value, because when we're doing like DeFi finances in the European world, sorry, it's nice money business, but in terms of like planet innovation, I don't want to like be like Elon Musk at all. I'm not this person, but blockchain can really make a difference in those countries, and it's pretty basic needs. Having your ID, having your history, having your rights in that, and having your finances. So you wouldn't be dependent, you wouldn't be punished, you wouldn't be under like control, but also preserving the fairness, right? So there is no crime, no money laundering, etc. And I think blockchain is a breakthrough technology in those terms. In all other matters, when we're doing like define Europe, it's like, sorry, I don't see huge value in that. It's interesting money business, but it's not very interesting.
What a beautiful thought. What a beautiful thought. What we learned from the Western world and Europe, we are implementing that in a, say, third world country or so-called global south, you know, and fast
Yeah,
track that what they haven't been able to receive. Beautiful. Anton, it's a
thank you.
pleasure first, and then I look forward to much more. And I'm sure like a lot of our viewers would have a lot of questions which we will send to you, and we'll try
Yeah,
to
we'll
speak
be glad to.
again with one of your product, one of your solution. Thank you for your time
Thank
and
you.
keep
Thank you,
building.
Ok. Always enjoying speaking with you. Have a great day. Thank you.